Okay, so this will be a tutorial on DFDB recognition. So DFDB recognition is a technique that allows you to have pauseless 4B to 4C transition in the Roux method, and it allows you to plan out the first few moves of your 4C. So there's two categories. The first one is where the pieces on the top are adjacent, which leads to a 3-cycle. And the second category is where they're opposite. So it either leads to a solve cube or a 4-cycle. So the first case is where they're adjacent and these two colors match. So when that happens, you want to look at either this sticker or this sticker. It doesn't matter which one, but usually the two different colors pop out. So I end up just looking at whatever color is different. So I would look at the yellow sticker here. So you would do M2 here to solve LR, and then you want to remember where the sticker was. So here it was in the back. So after you do M2, you want to move the other one to where the first one just was. So here we want to do a U prime to move this to the back. And then now to solve the rest of 4C, you want to look at this piece. You want to look at this vertical bar and locate the only color that's different. So here, this one's different. And you want to do an M move that keeps this piece on the top. So here we should do an M prime because M would move it to the bottom. So M prime, and then the next move is always going to be a U2. And then you just repeat the strategy. So this one is different. So do an M to keep it on the top, M, U2, and then all we need to do is an M2. So now these two cases, these two colors are different. So we will see how to do that. So if they're different, after doing an M2, the first U move should be whatever U move that solves the corners. So here, the U move that solves the corners is going to be a U prime. So again, you want to remember where this color was, so it was in the front. So after we do M2 U prime, we notice that this is also in the front. And what that means is that this piece and this piece are diagonally opposite. So they're on opposite sides of the cube. So if that happens, you want to do the same strategy as the first case. So this color is different, so keep it on the top. So M, U2, and this one's different, M prime, U2, M2. And now the other case is after you do M2, these two pieces end up on top of each other. So you'll see what happens when I do M2U, because that's all of the corners. So M2U, and now they're on top of each other. So the way you can tell if they're going to be on top of each other is you remember that this was in the front, and then when you do U, this is on the back now. So that's how you can tell that they're on top of each other. And then if that happens, you want to do an M2 instead of bringing this down here. So you want to do an M2 no matter what. And then just follow the same strategy as before. So here, U2, and this one is different. So M prime, U2, M prime. Now, for the opposite cases, there's two categories. One is where there's no horizontal bar. So if there's no horizontal bar, that means when you do an M2, it's going to make the horizontal bar. And when that happens, you want to do an M2, and you want to do whatever U move that matches these two colors. So here it's going to be a U prime. And then here it should be pretty obvious what to do. You'll either get a 4C skip, or you'll get this M2 U2 M2
M2 case. Now, if there's already a horizontal bar, then whatever you move, when you do an M2, it's going to break that bar. So it's going to have a longer solution. So you do the same thing as before, as M2, and then you do the U move that brings this center to this sticker to the center. And then here you want to do M prime, U2, M2, U2, and then just finish. Here's the same thing, M2, U, and then M prime, U2, M2, U2, and then just finish. So for that specific case, there's actually a shortcut. It's called dots avoidance, because here if you do M2 you get dots, which is a long solution. So to avoid that, so to tell this case apart, you can see the horizontal bar, and these two colors also have to be opposite. If they match, then that's a different case. But if you have the horizontal bar and these two colors are opposite, then instead of doing M2 right away, you do a U2 first, and then you treat that these two pieces are already solved, and then you do a UFUB solution, which is basically this case, but offset by a U. So here you do M prime U2 M2 U2 M prime, and then that solves the cube. So next we'll move on to how to apply this for misoriented centers. So you'll see misoriented centers a lot when you do EOLR. So when you have misoriented centers, you apply the same strategy as before, but the only difference is that the colors on the top are different. So here we have yellow matches yellow, and we look at this piece. So since they match, we want to move this towards here. So our first two moves are M2 U prime, so M2 U prime, and M U2 M U2, and then here you should just fix the M layer. And next we have yellow opposite white, and taking a look at this, our first two moves are M2 U prime. So we notice that this is going to move to the back, this is going to move to DB. So we're going to have these two pieces on top of each other. So here we should do M2 U prime M2. So M2 U prime M2, and then just finish as normal. And finally, we have this 4-cycle case. So after we do M2, this is going to be yellow, so we want to bring the yellow towards here. So our first two moves are M2 U prime. So M2 U prime, and then the same thing as the oriented centers case. So M prime U2, M2 U2. So finally, we're going to apply this to other kind of inserts rather than just M2. So here, the other LR is down here, and we want to insert this with M prime U2 M prime. So to apply this to apply DFDB recognition to this case, the two colors we look at for our strategy is these two. So here they match. So after we do M prime U2 M prime, we're going to move this to wherever this was, or more exactly, we're going to move this so that the two yellow pieces are opposite each other. And here there's only one piece that you can look at, because the other one is the LR piece. So you have to look at this piece and this piece. So after we do M prime U2 M prime, this is going to end up at DB, DF I mean.
So we have to move this towards UB. So we do m prime u to m prime, and then we move this towards UB, and then we solve the rest as normal. And for this case, our insert is m prime u to m, and if this is on the back like this, we look at these two centers. So these are opposite, so we're going to do whatever move that's going to solve the corners. And we're going to track this piece and this piece, since this is the LR. And you don't want to pay attention to this piece at all. So after we do m prime u to m, we're going to, this piece will end up on DF. So we just have to look at where this piece will move. So m prime u to m, and then solve the corners. And then we notice that it ended up on top of each other, so we do m2, u2, and then solve the rest as normal. And finally we have this case. So here, this is a little bit of a special case because here we have opposite. So this is a 4 cycle, and this is also opposite, which means we have dots. So here you can do m prime u to m prime into dots, but you can also do dots avoidance in these type of inserts. So to do dots avoidance, your first m move has to be opposite of whatever m move you would usually do for this case. So you would usually do m prime in this case, but to do dots avoidance, you do m, u2, and then you bring both of LR to the bottom, and then here you just solve the rest of it. So this case is actually really good because it saves a lot of moves. And we'll see how to apply this to misoriented centers. So we have m prime u to m here, but we also have misoriented centers. And these two match. So we want to stack, not stack, but we want to place these opposite each other. So after you do m prime u to m, this will end up here. So we have to move this here. So m prime u to m, and then here we do a u prime to, so that these two are opposite each other, and then solve the rest as normal.